Hey everybody, this is Tom again in Western North Carolina, and I believe this is going to be episode 7 of how to make a chair. Now in the last video, I pretty much was done roughing out all the parts, and so now we're going to move on to the actual shaping and doing whatever we have to do to the parts to get them ready to put into the chair. And basically today I'm going to show you how to go about how I do a front post, a front leg, whatever you want to call it. But anyways, in this picture here you can see, and I've now switched to a completely different log that was roughed out at least a year ago, maybe 2 years ago now, and it is white oak. And white oak, you got to be aware it works a little different. It's a little more teary. You can catch little strings and stuff and they'll tear out. You got to be careful, more careful than with red oak. But anyways, that's what this is, white oak. And you can see that I think that I have 5 chairs worth of wood. I've got back posts, 5 sets of back posts. I've got frame fronts. I've got a pile of rungs and airfoils here. I've got my slats. Got a bunch of slats. And I've even already got some rungs in the kiln. And I'll show you the kiln later sometime. It's just a box with a light bulb in it that keeps it up about 100 degrees, and that can dry the kiln, the rungs to where they need to be. But anyways, the front posts are roughed out about 1.5 inches square. These here happen to be about 1 3/8 inches, and that's what they are. White oak's plenty strong, it'll be big enough. So anyways, when you look at your front post blanks, your roughed out pieces, what you want to do is have them matched up. When I split them out, I match them up. I match them up into pairs with numbers on them. And then the first thing you're going to do is cut them to the final length. And on this particular chair, the final length is 17 1/4 inch. And that is written on your chair stick. That you'll see, in the chair stick video, whichever that was, episode 3.1, I think it was. Anyways, you're going to match them up and you're going to cut them to length. And you can cut them with a handsaw, but I cut these on the chop saw. Try to get them the same length. That's good. But then the second step, after you get them cut to length, you want to take your chair stick and you want on these posts, I mark the places where there's a taper. There's a taper on the bottom of the chair, and there's a taper on the top of the chair. And another thing about when you're cutting them to length, when you have a little extra length, you're always going to want to look for what's the best end to cut off. And the best end to cut off is the end that has some kind of a defect or a little thing you want to get rid of. So be aware of that. But then once you get them cut off, you're going to determine the top and the bottom, and then you're going to mark your tapers, and I've marked them all the way around. And then after that, you're going to put a circle. I put a circle on the bottom and on the top. And this circle on the bottom, and I draw the circles with these things. These are called drill stops, but they draw good circles. This one on the bottom is 7/8, and the one on the top is 1 inch. And I draw the circle on the inside of the thing. And when you're drawing that circle on the bottom, if your piece has some kind of a bend in it, a curve or something, you can actually offset that circle out of the middle to try to straighten your piece up. When you make that taper, you can get the bottom of the taper in more in line with the main piece. So that's something you can do. After you get those circles drawn on there and those taper marks, the next step is to shave your tapers. And I have shaved that bottom taper. You know, I've left most of those marks, and I've also, at the same time, I've kind of put a 16 side on these things. I've taken a little bit off right in up here. So those are almost 16 sided, but they have the taper has been made on the bottom and the taper is made on the top. And you can see that I've left the line on those. And that's just regular draw knife work. It's not the finished product on any place, but it's continuing the rough out, getting closer to your finished product. I'm reading my notes, so I make sure I tell you everything. Okay, then the next thing you're going to do, well, the next thing I do on those is I am going to put a tenon on the top of these. I'm going to put a 1-inch tenon on the top. And so the first step to putting in a tenon is to make a little chamfer so that your tenoning tool can get onto this piece. Right now, the tenon tool can't get on. It needs a little chamfer for the start. And this is the tenon tool. A tenon tool like this is what I'm going to use. Now the tenon tool I'm actually going to use is here in the drill, already chucked up. And I have a stop in it. And it's going to stop that tenon at 3/4 of an inch deep. And this is a 1-inch tenon cutter. This is what I use to make the chamfer. I think in the old-time literature it's called a spoke pointer. I use it to cut chamfers. Now I do not have a stop on this for this particular purpose, but you just need to put a very small chamfer on this. Just enough so that this tool can start onto there. And it was as simple as what I just did there. Now the next thing is going to be to put the tenon on, and I put the tenon on with a drill press. You don't need a drill press, but that's how I do it. If you don't use a drill press, you can just put it on like this with an electric drill or even a hand crank drill. But if you do it like this, you usually want a long extension, so you have a better way to aim that straight on there. I've got a level on this, and you line up your up and down with this level, and then your side to side you just have to aim. And you level this piece also if you're going to use a level here. So that's doable with no drill press if you want, but I'm going to use a drill press. And so this one here is ready for the taper on the drill press. And I've rigged this drill press up. And I'm going to move the camera a little bit so you can see everything going on the drill press. All right, you can see that better now. And I've got this drill press lined up. I lined this table up so it's straight in line with the bit. And I've got this here sock to go in the hole so it doesn't booger up this end. But I just put that down in there. And then I make sure that's engaged correctly, right like that. And I've got a foot pedal on the floor to start the drill press. And I'm going to just fire it up so I can get my foot right. And I've got a stop on there. And you end up with something that looks like that. There's a tenon. That's a 1-inch diameter tenon, 3/4 of an inch deep. All right, I'm going to move the camera back again to where it was. Something like that. Now after you do that, you can see that this is all a bunch of burrs and stuff there. But what I do, is I use a draw knife and I very carefully from this tenon mark, this taper mark right up here, I very carefully shave that off to get it right down so it just looks like that taper goes right into that tenon. Now you do that with a draw knife. I don't do it with a spokeshave because a spokeshave you can't see the blade. You can't see exactly where you're at. And also there's a place where you're going from flat like that, and a spokeshave will not go down into there. A draw knife will. But what you do is you very carefully shave that, and you end up with something that looks like this. You can see that I've pecked into this here a little bit, but that doesn't matter as long as you don't take any big chunks out of this tenon up here. But see, there's pretty much no shoulder at all left. That's just going to look like that tenon just disappeared up into the bottom of that frame front. And this portion here, this taper here right now, you want to do that good enough where you consider that to be a finished product right there. Now after you've got that done, the next step then is to make this whole body of this rung or front post, you want to make this whole area where my hand is, you want to change that to just round. And I did that with a spokeshave. And again, this is white oak. You got to be real careful about places that grab and just want to tear out. And I had a little bit of that. But then once I get this area round, then I take my spokeshave in this bottom part here on the tenon. Then I do the tenon completely with a spokeshave and make it just as smooth as I want to make it with a spokeshave. And those are all the steps to making this front post ready to be drilled for the front rungs. And these end up with 2 rungs. And I got those rungs already in the kiln, so that's going to be the next step, is me showing you how to do the rungs. And then we'll probably, I don't know, we'll have to drill the front posts and put the front together. So anyways, I hope that you guys that are watching, and you guys means everybody, not just men, that are watching this video, know a little bit about draw knifing and spokeshaving. And I don't think that I need to show it to you every time, just me draw knifing and spokeshaving, because I don't think that you can really see what's exactly going on. But you just have to be careful with your draw knife, and know when to take it off, put on the gas, and when to put on the brakes. And the spokeshave is the same way. And I'll show you my spokeshave, I guess. This is the spokeshave I use. Don't know if you can see it very good. I don't know how to line up with that camera, but there it is. It's a handmade spokeshave. A guy by the name of John Krause made that for me. And anyways, I like it quite a bit. The standard spokeshave you're going to see for sale and stuff looks more like this one. most all of these, the ones that you see of look like these, a lot of them are Stanley, I don't know what they are, Stanley 151s or something like that. If you find one of them at a flea market or buy a brand new one, replica of one of those, for whatever they cost now, $20 or $30, you're going to have to do some tuning up to make one of those work really, really good. And I just saw an article in an old fine woodworking that I've got that I'll show it to you on the next episode. I don't have it right at hand here, on how to tune up a spokeshave. You know, it's a process. But anyways, you don't have to have a really super duper spokeshave or draw knife to do this work, but you got to have them sharp and you got to practice using them. Anyways, that sort of sounded like a lecture, and I don't really want to lecture anybody. I just want to show you how I go about doing this stuff. And I'm pretty sure if I can do it, just about any one of you can do it too if you try. When I first tried, when I was going to make my very first chair way back, probably in the early 80s, I was looking in a book, How to Make a Chair by Roy Underhill. He had How to Make a Chair in one of his first books. And I got some of the parts roughed out and stuff, but I was afraid. I was afraid to go on. And I'm trying to put enough information in here and give you guys enough confidence to go on and do the next step and not be afraid. And just do it. I think you can make a chair. And I've had lots of students of all kinds, women over 65 years old men, young people, in between people that had no woodworking experience at all, and they could make a chair if they, you know, follow the directions. Now, I'm not right there with you to hold your hand or anything, but I'm hoping these videos will help you have some confidence that you can do the work and continue on and actually get a chair made. Okay, I guess I'm talking too much. If you want more information about shaving and stuff like that, maybe I will make a video just on me shaving wood or something, but I just don't know how much it's going to help you. Anyways, thanks for watching. Having a good time here. I'm having a good day. It's sunny out, but it's chilly today. I think today is about the 28th or 29th of October 2020. I hope you can be thankful for what you have. And thanks for watching again. See you another time.